hey, let's meet, you wrote me, when his planets are aligned in the stellium. That means 6 planets all aligned, so many in the sign of Aries, that feeling of willful putting out one's desire, putting out one's strongest longings, highest visions. And in this particular moment of time, this moment, all the time in the world, we're able to connect the past, the present, the future in a way that we've never been able to before, to cocoon our way through this chaotic glue of uncertainty that we're all immersed in at this stage. This is a particularly significant moment in my meditations the last 2-3 days, knowing that Chiron is also in the stellium. Chiron, it emphasizes the wounded healer. It's in the same sign, very close to my Jupiter in Aries, my wounds that I've been aware of how I've attracted some particular patterns in my life that I don't want. I've had a new thought. And the thought is, wait a minute. If I treat myself like I've been treating everybody else, imagine myself, imagine all myself, that I am reweaving a story of me as the hero in my own journey, not just a central character. How would I see the hurts, the shame, all the things that I've lost, financially, women, whatever, whatever my story, to I was heroic in the end, and to see it from this new story, not even give attention to the other. So I've been constantly putting images of my favorite moments of springboard diving, or when I was playing bowling once and all the balls went down in a strike, all the energies of all the times the most explosive with joy, and I put them on top of this image of how am I thanking myself. Thank you for showing me how I'm the hero in my own movie. So interspersing these images with that self-talk and nurturing and inspiring and empowering, I am practicing magic like never before. And we're all to do this at this moment, like never before. That's what's up for us all. How exciting.
Yes, absolutely. And that brings me right to this beautiful way of thinking about authority, how you're being authentic, authority and authenticness. Being your own author comes out of, being your own author, you writing your own story, you're writing your own script. So authenticity is literally creating the inner author of your book, you see,
I just noticed the connection. I never saw this before.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And authority come from the same place. To speak from one's authentic authority, to own one's own authentic nature, is to speak from the inner core, at the base of the spine, and to feel how that is in alignment with the belly, the heart, and the spirit itself. To have an alignment between spirit, mental, emotional, and physical energies all at once. This is the gift of this creation, and we are right now given the gift of seeing how we can create new stories, fresh glories, as never before. Awake, we open the door, remembering what we came here for.
Yes, absolutely. And you see that this brings again like the two qualities of faith and destiny, where you step into your own authentic authoring of your writing of your book. You literally are going from faith to destiny. You're removing yourself being tied in the strings in an not real way. Ties to the past are always not real. They're self-created, and there can be, all the ties can always be cut. So what I mean by that, it's more from stepping from the inner realization that the faith and the destiny, if we can remove those ties from belief systems of being tied to the destiny and stepping forward into author creation inside of us to moving towards destiny, then the becoming is that your authentic self has identified the real path to the real self and to the place where you belong. And that's where the beauty comes in with belonging. You come from a place which only you knows. And when you're stepping into this belonging inside of you, what you are longing for, then again, longing and belonging can meet, and you authentically rewrite what is your determination, where you really want to go. Yeah, so good to see you again, Gary. I'm looking forward to talking with you today about authenticity. It sparked for me definitely interest, because in our world today we have a lot of the issue around authenticity is so beautiful to see the authenticity rising in our world. Do you agree with me?
It's so true what you say, to feel people who speak from their heart and their inner core, to me, is a revelation, a revolution to connect with each other in that way. This is such a powerful time with this alignment of all the planets, so many of them in Aries. I'm wearing this red shirt with the realization, and that stepping forth in a fiery way with all of this alignment, personally, collectively, chance to nurture, empower, and inspire one another and turn our lives around as never before. This is a magical moment.
Absolutely. And you know, this spring, I think we will be looking back in history to the spring of 2023, where right after the eclipse, we have all this alignment happening of energies. And I think that we are really sailing into a new era altogether. And I personally feel it, and I can see it reflected in the world, in everybody's conversation. And it's beautiful. I think that people are showing up to taking leadership into their hands. I think our world has luckily shifted a little bit into...
In that I've traveled all around the world, yet in these times since COVID, or whatever you want to call it, over the last 3 years, we've all been forced, I certainly have, to find my own authenticity and authority and authorship of my inner landscape, my traveling inwardly. And by going in, all the travel that I've been wanting to do, actually, I'm reaching more people outwardly than ever. And it's through this process of going deeper inside, to dive deeply. That expression's come out over the last 3 years. Let's dive deep together. That this inner travel, this inner voyaging, we are all archaeologists of the soul. And as we dig into what is real, trusting my gut feelings, I move from this place. I trust my intuition. The words flow prayerfully, playfully. I don't have to think about what to say. I'm given the gifts as I keep opening my receptivity, my nurturing, my empowerment, my inspiration. Having the words match this physical sensations.
Yeah, and authenticity brings you again to the self-reliance, back to your own self, to being brave enough to stepping into the truth of what you really want to do. And I think that's a very Aries thing to do. I was a little avant-garde as a young girl, taking my backpack and traveling. I said to my parents, I'm going to travel a year before I'm being back. And so I did. And this is just so amazing when you brave enough. So curiosity and courage have to come together to that, in that authentic place, to move on your ideas and on your belongings and longings in life, to stepping forward and saying, oh, this is what I really want to do. Okay, what's my first step towards that, what I really want to do? And so it takes the bravery to keep stepping forward. Not all the path is like all smooth. I had to save up money. I had to buy my backpack, my hiking shoes, my, it all of the tools on the steps on the path. There is still work involved. There is courage. You have to inquire in all of your footsteps. But that authenticness, if you identify it early, what a privilege it is. So to
curiosity and courage. I'm hearing that, and as I put on one hand the voice of curiosity and the other hand the voice of courage. I often like doing this in my presentation coaching when I'm online doing sessions these days. I am the voice of curiosity and courage. I need for you to help me feel encouraged to move forward, because I feel, with all of my curiosity, sometimes I feel like I might be stepped on or rejected. I need your help. Oh, courage. I'm happy to encourage you, yet I also need from you, curiosity, the gift of pause, the gift of waiting till the energy builds. We need each other. Yes, together we're more powerful than we are apart. So I often like to have conversations between anything. On one hand is this, the other hand that, until something emerges that is the two stronger together than being apart. That simple conversation is such a good practice. If anyone can practice this, until the place becomes harmonious.
I love that, Gary, because it also just to bringing it into inner conversation, like what you just did, is beautiful, because our thought system, which never stops, even if we want to meditate. Of course, there's going to be a lot of thoughts first, so don't be discouraged. There's always, and even in meditation, there are thoughts coming and going. But I love the way you just put it, to allowing the thoughts to not just go into a loop of a conversation, which is a repetition of some thought. But if you can take that thought and say, okay, what is my partner over here to counteract that thought, who is maybe repeating in my mind, and then have this counterpart, maybe the opposite of that thought, and have this role playing in our own thought system show up, and role play the back and forth on the different thoughts, and maybe make some notes, write it down, or like let it happen and then write it down. But but remember how to interact So that in itself, because of a question and answer between different thoughts, you come to literally to an solution finding process. And even if the solution is not showing up right away, if you have the healthy way of interacting, it can have a finding, the solution can be found. And I love that that process, what you just mentioned. I really do.
It's so true. On the one hand, on the other hand, this process is very simple. There's a particular principle that works with this that I come up with years ago. That's this principle that for any relationship between anything that on the one hand is held as opposite or separate from the other, vulnerability and strength, it could be any two qualities, authenticity and faking it, each one, to develop a harmonious relationship, just like what you said, needs for the other to add, delete, or change something. So the voice of authenticity, for example, since we're talking about that, might say to the voice of vulnerability, I need you to feel more authorized to share your wisdom, even and especially when you feel queasy. I will help guide you there. And in return, I will give you a feeling of confidence so you move forward without hesitation. This one says, thank you. And here's what I need. I acknowledge that you're willing to do that. And that's wonderful. I accept your offer because it's a contract. We're renegotiating a contract. This one says, here's what I need from you, authenticity. You tend to come on a little strong over there, and I'm, so I'm not just Mr. Mrs. whatever softy. I'm tender and kind and loving, and I need you to add, delete, or change, being a little bit more fluid in your manner, so that I don't feel your brittleness and that I feel that you're going to hurt me. So, will you do that for me? Of course, I'll do it for you. And so I give this to you, you give this to me, and it's a renegotiation of a contract.
Nice. Yes, coming back to this alignment, where this is what is so important in our time right now, this spring, because this aspect is, of course, the height point is the most direct alignment is at this very moment, this night, as we're just in the middle of it, and it's still being felt, for at least 2-3 days really strong, and but the whole month is impacted by the impulse. So when we take those deep inspirations we have and just put them into the world, we don't need to know what is going to happen with it. Right. It's not like you need to know the end result. No, you have the impulse and you follow the impulse. You want to act on it. It's impossible
not to follow the impulse when we have Jupiter 18 degrees of Aries, Mercury 20 degrees of Aries, Saturn 18 degrees of Aries, Chiron 15 degrees of Aries, and Sun 8 degrees of Aries. With that fiery alignment, the impulsivity of Aries is aligned with the stream of fresh energies that are coming forth, the activations that are also solar powered. We're stepping forth, every one of us, individually and collectively, into our energy field. Time to step up, our gifts, our powers, to absolutely enter this new chapter, new levels of truth. The cosmic codes coming in and are participating in the evolving of humanity in a way that we together authorize and authenticate our authenticity.
Individualism. There's nothing wrong about individualism. It's not egocentric or narcissistic. That's not what it is. To being an individual, individuating yourself is authenticating your inner beauty, to standing up. It's more like you don't have to be afraid of coming to across too strong with your will. Don't be afraid of stepping out with your will. Your will is here to create with the will, thy will, as you want to say it. You creating authenticity, and it makes life actually easier. So, and the flow of life in an authentic path is literally easier than holding yourself back or having boundaries or stepping back and forth between shall I not. When in doubt, you're in a phase of shall I or shall I not, make a decision and step onto that path. You find out quicker if it was the wrong path. You find out quicker and you can take the other path. But going back and forth, not making a decision, is a much harder path. And dreaming about something over and over, oh, this is what I really want. Well, try it out if you really want it. You see, there is it's so important to be, if you dream of a place, or if you dream of an outcome, or if you dream of something important for you, get an experience and test it out. What does it feel like? What is it like? What does it look like? How does it feel when I'm in it? How does it feel when I'm doing it, what I was dreaming of? How does it feel to living in this place I dreamed of living? Maybe it doesn't feel that good. You see, you're
talking about feeling. I want to add to what you're saying about feeling. We both get so enthusiastic.
Yeah, no, please go ahead.
I love our.
You're allowed.
So passionate.
You're allowed. Interrupt me.
So with the Mars and the Moon right now in Cancer, the sign of nurturing and feeling into all of this Jupiter expansiveness with the alignment of all those planets in Aries, our ability to feel into our deepest longings, our highest visions, is now activated with this 5-6 planets in Aries in the most powerful way we can imagine it all, imagine it as we would rather have it.
Imaginal. Oh, I like it. Imagine it all. Yes, exactly. Yes, absolutely beautiful. Imagine it all. The imagination. You know what I love in the AI world? This is really funny because it's kind of cute. I mean, you have to imagine this is a whole new world. but I want to tell you something which is so cute. Sure. When you go into Midjourney and you have your Discord account, and so every time you have this communication with creating an image, you have to do a / imagine and then prompt, right? So, and I just kind of, whoever came up with, of course, you see, people, human beings were creating the platform and coming up with a structure to imagine it, right? So, yes. And I just love there. I have a joy, and it's kind of cute how I relate to it. It's not something I am. I'm not opposed to this world, which is so fascinating. I'm a real Aquarian type, innovative, new technology. Oh yes, let me dive into it. So I'm putting the / imagine, and then there comes the prompt and you give the prompt. And every time I do it, it's like, this is amazing. You see, this is amazing because we entered a time where I can literally talk with the universe and say, imagine my prompt, you know, and there is a parallel. There is a parallel to our own thinking system of how we've been imagining in our inner world. We literally can.
I've got to respond to what you're saying.
That's so fascinating. I love it. Go ahead.
Saying about imagine. Listen to this. In the cocoon, the chrysalis, the caterpillar has what's called imaginal cells. They're called imaginal cells.
Wow.
And imagine all are taking the stance through this cocooning glue that we're moving through, all of us, that we're imagining all. Imagine all. And in imagining all and feeling it all, we're nurtured, we're inspired, we're empowered. Our body energy gets stronger. Our activations become instantly manifested, and we are that we've been seeking all at once, all together now. This is the secret of this time.
I know.
All the time.
So Gary, are you saying that the caterpillar who was just crawling on leaves just put himself into this little caterpillar and says to himself, imagine it all, how I'm gonna grow wings. Imagine it all, how I'm gonna grow wings now. I'm imagining how to grow wings now. I love this. I just love this. Imagine it all. I mean, you have to say that there is quite some miracles here when we just look at nature. So I let you go. Thank you, Gary, for your time. Beautiful to see you again.